Okay, here we go. This is number 6. This is tutorial number 6. Okay, we're gonna pick up where we left off. We're gonna get right into it real quick. Last time we were talking about spline modeling, and I wanted to kind of cut in with a little bit more details of different ways to spline model with compound objects. We're gonna get back to the Warhammer logo, and we're gonna extrude that logo. We'll do a couple things. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Let's get started. Okay, so jump over to your software here. Um, my interface looks different than yours. I just realized. I have some things turned on. I have some icons that you don't have here. Maybe you don't use this guy. I'm not sure. In fact, let's just put that there so we can rotate a little bit better. Anyway, um, there we go. A little rotate better. God, I hate the rotate tools in this thing sometimes. Anywho, so I'm going to explain why our interfaces look different next time. That's what I want to talk about next time. I just want to talk about the GUI by itself. Okay, so right now we are going to talk about splines, kind of finish that up, and then next time we're going to go into the GUI really hard. So for now, let's get back to where you were. If you can find an icon that you like, this Aquila model or this Aquila SVG, like I said, I had to import it into Adobe Illustrator and then export an Adobe Illustrator file from Adobe Illustrator 8. I know that's stupid, right? The reason for that is because the import tools are a little bit old. But what that does, like I said, is it strips down all the extra crazy stuff and just gives you vertices and lines, basically, basic vector details. Because that's all we want here. We just have in this that we imported, by the way, I showed you how to do that last time. All we have is vertices and edges here. And this is in the editable spline. It'll pop up, it'll be there by default. Okay, so let's pretend that you have imported this in. This is where we're going to start. And man, this thing looks kind of crummy, right? There's some issues here that I don't like. So actually, let's look at it from the top view. So this is your view cube here on the top right corner. It's this, yeah, that was a burp. On the top right, this is your view cube. Helps you rotate. You can use Alt and middle click. I suggest you do that. But I use this up here. Like I said, I'm very handicapped, and it's just easier for me to use it. Anyway, so even if I click on the top right here, there's a top button. Yes, we're seeing it from the top, but we're seeing it with depth. We're seeing it with perspective. Instead of that, we could turn that off here. But what I want you to do is I want you to get used to Alt W and getting into the perspective view for that angle. So if you don't see it, you can get your default viewport out here. This is the 4. It should be top, front, left, and perspective. So if you click that guy, now you have them all. Okay. This is the top view. So let's click in here. Like I said, Alt W, my icon's right here. So I'm going to pop that guy in to make sure this is highlighted. You can see a little yellow. See that little yellow box that goes around the entire viewport that you want to get into? So click that guy, blow that up. And now what you can do is you can click this to kind of get back to your orthographic top view that you're going to want here. And you can click these individually. Sorry. Or you could rotate the model. It's really up to you. You should probably rotate the model, I would suggest. So we could go back. What were we at here? This guy and this guy. And then we were at the top. Yeah. So what you could do, grab that model, rotate tool, right click your angle snap. Make sure it's on. It's a on and off check. Make sure it's like 5 degrees, or you can even change it to 90 if you want to be lazy. And then every time you rotate, you'll rotate by 90 degrees only. See, from 90 or 0 to 90. And then you can see that pop up too, right above your little gizmo. That's the rotation gizmo. So I'm going from 0 to 90 to 180 to 270, and then so on and so forth. Anyway, so right here, let's get that. Sorry, my hands are shaky. We'll leave it right there. Let's get rid of the snap and grid options. Those are, you can actually, I wouldn't leave it at 90. So bring that back open, because it's going to screw with you later if you don't use the program very often. And just bust this back down to 5 or 10. I find 5 or 10 is a nice place to go. All right, so boom, we got that on. Turn it off. Make sure it's back to 5. Okay, so if you don't already have an editable spline on here for some reason, you do. Make sure you can pop that on. You can always have more than one, and they can have different features in them. So let's say in this, let's just give you an example. So flip on the move tool. Let's just move something. So let's move this even further out. That looks crappy. And then let's add another editable spline, and let's grab the edge. Oops, let's grab the edge on the other side. So we have 2 editable splines. Let's grab this segment, and let's move this guy out here. That looks terrible. Okay, so we have 2 editable splines, technically 3, because it came with one. Now, if we turn that off, we got those changes. We can turn each one on and off, okay? So I just turn that one on, or I can turn this one off, right? And that one still remains, as long as we don't get rid of any objects, like vertices, or we reorder the vertices, which I'll explain in a little bit. You can have as many edit spline modifiers on there as you want. You can actually reorder them too if you'd like. But anyways, we don't care about that right now. So just make sure you have an editable spline, good to go. And then you can take a look at kind of how this is laid out. Like I said, what I don't like about this is that the edges are inconsistent. So check out this side. We've got nice corners, but they're not rounded. Like the wing isn't very round here. But then on this side, look at this crap. We got a rounded corner here. We got a straight corner there. And then this, this nice shape here kind of sucks, right? It's just not very consistent. So we are going to use this as our, sorry, I just drank a bunch of soda, so I'm burping. So we're going to use this as our outline. We're going to make a new object, okay? So select off of it, and we are going to freeze it, okay? So freezing something means you can see it, but you can't select it unless you're in one of the panels. So there is a panel called the display floater. This is the quickest way without opening any other windows. So display floater right here. Notice I can select my object. Let us hit freeze selected. Now, look at that. If I click and drag on this guy, I can't see it. I can't do anything to it. We can close this. We know where it is. It's in Tools, Display Floater. And then we can unfreeze all if we want. Okay, I don't want to do that right now. But anyways, it'll unfreeze some other stuff I have. Maybe it'll make it visible. So if I do this, yes. Unfreeze all. All right. Anyways, so you can unfreeze all or freeze, whatever you want. I'm going to leave it frozen. Close this menu. I'm going to use this as kind of my outline. Okay, so let's start making this shape. But instead of these busted rounded corners, let's make everything sharp. Okay, I think it looks nice when it's sharp. And then if we want, at the end, we could add a nice bezel to it, a rounded corner. We get to make the decision in the end. I just don't like how some are and some aren't. Some are rounded, some are corners. Let's just make it. This isn't going to take real long. Let's think symmetrically. So every time you make something, I want you to envision you have an axis line here. Now, this axis line lines up almost perfectly right down the middle, right? The necks are a little off here. This one's off to the side. That one's not. Or they're not symmetrical. There's a different distance here. But think about symmetrical design. You can basically do most of one side, and then you could duplicate the other side. You don't need to line it up and make it perfect on both sides. That would be terrible. Let's use the mirror tool, because you can't use the symmetry modifier on splines. You can only use the mirror modifier. And we'll do one side, and then we'll do the details to the other side, and then we'll call it. Okay, we'll just say, good enough. I'm happy with it. So let's make this. Okay, so let's go, and let's just start with a line. Okay, let's do a line here. And let's start with the body. Okay, let's trace this body. pretend we're going to use this outline here. So I am going to select the line, and we're going to want to line up the inner vertices on this axis, and I will show you how to do that after we draw it. So let's just start making some stuff, and then I'll show you how to kind of line it up. So let's just start. I'm just going to start clicking and dragging, or just clicking. I'm not going to do any rounded stuff yet, so let's just go through it. So I just clicked again. I'll click here, click here. And maybe we could extend the tail a little bit. Maybe make it a little nicer. Let's go like that. Okay. Yes, it doesn't line up with the axis, but we can do that in a little bit. Let's do another shape here. Let's make this one really jagged too. No rounded edges. So let's go like this, like this. Maybe we'll go like this, and then we'll use the trim tool. Okay, so like this and this. And it's going to ask me if I want to close it off, and I do. I want that to be a closed object, okay? So here I got two objects. They are different colors. What we could do, even if these lines don't line up, we could kind of fix that. So let's actually make it one object. So I like the yellow color. I don't like the blue. The blue is harder to see, but we could change it anytime. So just for this. So I'm going to select that and say attach, and I'm going to attach this guy. Okay, I'm going to right click it off the tool, and now we've got this nice yellow starting line. Okay, let's do the neck. Chicken necks. Let's do the neck first. All right, let's go up here, and instead of making a new line, so we could do, make a new line here and do that. Fine. Let's select the object we have. Let's go to the edit spline, and let's create line. Okay. So instead of creating a separate object and merging them together, it's just going to create a sub object in this editable spline object. So create line, and let's just go here and we'll move it over. We'll kind of create a space here. And we'll go like this. And let's not worry about the curve right now. We'll add it in later. And like that. And let's close this one off too. This one looks like we might need a curve. So what we could do is we could just go like this, click and drag, and then finish it off. Maybe do one of these. And we could do this. Maybe we'll just make it a little different like that. Like this. And like that. And like this. And we'll close that line too. Okay. So that was just creating two sub segments, technically, under the same object. Okay. And now if we click off of this and we want to move the whole thing, the object, we can do that. But we want to keep using the center line. Okay. So let's actually keep doing this. So I'm going to create line. I'm going to go a little bit quicker here. So let's make this curved line. I'm just going to start doing what you'd do and just start, I don't need to narrate everything, but I will a little bit. So let's go here. This swoop is kind of big. So when you make stuff like this and there's curves, you kind of want to make sure that you have enough of a nice curve. See, that's a U shape. I don't really like that. So let's undo that. Just click undo. Up here is your redo and undo. Like if I want that back for some reason. I don't really want it back though. Let's do one of these. Let's go like this. Let's make a V. Let's see. And I'll go like this. Just for now. We're gonna hold on to this. Let's see if we can Bezier handle this, or let's do a nice fillet and see what kind of curvature we get here. Not enough, but it gave us some extra lines. We could maybe play with that, but let's just do it by hand. So let's select this. I'm switching to, instead of edges or vertices, I went to segment, and I'm just going to delete this whole segment. Okay. So I just used my keyboard to press delete. You can't see it, but it's over there. Okay, let's create a line. How do we want to do this? I don't do this every day, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to make a nice curve similarly. Okay, so kind of on the fly. I do this all the time, but I don't do specifically this thing. It takes a little trial and error, and that's fair. It's fine. So let's do like this. And then we'll kind of round those shapes. And we'll just call it like that. All right, so let's Bezier these two. So instead of using the, let's go to vertex mode here. Instead of, using like one of the tools, just right click and let's go to Bezier. And now it's made the handles a little bit crazy. See that? So let's zoom in on these handles. Sorry, I'm so far out. I guess I could get closer here. And let's try to round out this. So by clicking here, like I said yesterday, it'll keep us to this one axis. Or these two axes. If I click on the one axis, like the X here, I can only go in that direction. But I want XY. Okay. So if I click here, and now I click here, I can kind of deal with these. And I can get a better kind of whooshing, swooping, rounded bit here. So let's do that. Let's move this guy here. Let's make it nice and kind of sharp. It's a half circle. I mean, we could just use a circle. We could have created a circle and cut it out using the trim tool. And maybe we'll do something like that in a minute. But I like this. I think this works for me. So that's good right there. Okay, let's continue where we were with the line tool. I'll show you some tricks here. Okay, so let's turn on automatic welding. I don't suggest you do this, but let's do this just for this. So let's create another line. Make sure we create it inside the editable spline. Don't create it in the creation panel here under splines. So go in create line for your object. And let's click here. And let's go and let's create this wing here. So kind of going to do the same thing I did last time, right? I'm going to go like that, maybe like this, maybe like that. And then I'll change these to Bezier, but I hit this check button over here, automatic welding. What do you suppose that does? Well, probably welds the points together or the edges together. So let's go to vertex mode or vertice mode. What do they call it? They call it vertex or vertice? Vertex mode. Let's remember that. Vertex mode, segment mode, and spline mode. So we're going to go into vertex mode. And since automatic welding is on, let's just see what happens when we get close and let go. Oh, maybe we're not close enough. There we go. See that? It automatically welded that together. Now if I just click and drag that, it's 1. It used to be 2, but automatic welding was on. So let's turn that back off. It's a little questionable. I don't like that. Too much control. I like to make sure I control those things. Okay, so notice when it did that, it put some corner handles on here, right? That's a Bezier corner handle. So let's undo that. Let's get rid of those by just turning it into a corner. So right click. Once you have it selected, right click, corner. Bam. Okay, now we don't have the handles. We have the handles here. We want those. We don't want this. If we did that and we're like, oh man, I got cornered. That sucks. You can always undo. So let's leave it like that. Okay, so we got these two big vertexes is wrong. Right click this and then let's do these as Bezier handles as well. And so let's round these guys out. Make sure you got both dimensions selected here. And this one actually looks pretty okay. Now notice one of the handles is a little bit longer than the other. That is one of the problems with 3D Studio Max I don't like. You can kind of, if you halfway between the 2 points, right click and say reset tangents. Notice how it's a little bit better now. Like one handle isn't exceedingly long. So that is an option for you to get the best out of that. Okay, so let's go back to this spot and we'll bring it to about there. And let's finish. Let's just go a little faster. I know I'm kind of probably boring you here. You know how to draw. Hopefully you know how to draw. If you don't know how to draw, that's okay. You're here. Let me help you. Okay, so let's create a new line. If we start it right here, will it connect it to that line? I don't even know. No, it will not. So let's actually start on this other end. We'll weld these together. But for now, let's just click that guy, click that guy. Let's add a nice little thing here. And then we've got this. And it looks like let's add a little circle here. So maybe we'll add like that and like this. Okay. And so I right click to end the tool. Okay, let's merge these vertices here and then let's round that out. So let's zoom in here. Sorry if I'm so zoomed out. My monitor's big. I don't know if your monitor's big. Okay, so let's target weld first. Or let's just weld first. Let's bring this guy up to here. We can select these two and just say weld. If it's not exactly where you want it to go, you can always change it. Now this doesn't need to be a Bezier corner, okay? Because this is a Bezier. So this could actually just be a corner. So let's right click corner. Okay, because we get the Bezier from that one. We don't need that one to be rounded. And let's do the same thing here. There's no target weld. I really hate that. That sucks. What we could do is we could just snap it. So if you get your snap tool on here, I think you can snap to vertices. Yep. So notice I have my snapping tool on. If you right click, make sure you have vertex selected. Actually turn off grid points right now. And so let's say you didn't want to weld at the halfway point. So I got these two selected. If I say weld, it's going to bring these two together and it's going to weld it right there. But that sucks. Maybe I needed that vertex to stay exactly where it was, right? So let's up this. If I hit weld, it's going to move the two. What if we don't want that? What if we want this to go exactly there? Well, make sure your snap tool is on and you have vertex selected. You can right click these snap tools to see what they're all about, see what the rules inside of them are. Make sure you have vertex, make sure it's on. Blue checked means on. Now just click and drag this one to that one. And look at that, it already wants to close it for us. Thank you. Dink. Good to go. All right, so this one is actually the same as the other one. It doesn't need to be a Bezier corner. It just needs to be a Bezier because there's a Bezier right there. Okay, so let's right click that and let's change that to a corner. Okay, and then I think we welded that one, so we're good there. Let's round these guys out. So let's select those three and let's say Bezier. So this one is okay. It's going in the right direction for me. I like that. Let's try to smooth this out. Turn off your snapping tool. It might just make it more complicated if you're not trying to get one on top of the other. So let's move that up there. Let's just really try to round it out. So I'm going to select these three, and I'm going to use my, it's zoom extents. My icon's going to look different, but it's in the bottom right corner, and there's zoom extents all. So do it in all the viewports, or just right click, or just click here, and it will bring you to where you're selected. So if you click that, it's going to get real close. So we got this almost too big. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It's a little ugly. Okay. And then I'm going to round this guy out too. Okay. So let's make sure you got that. And let's go like this. And I like this little circle here. I think it's a little snazzy. You know, just try to make it something unique. It's for you. It's for nobody else. This is your Warhammer symbol thing. And maybe I'll show you how to render something cool at the end. Okay. So there we go. It's looking kind of rad. Ooh, you know what we could do? We could add a nice little Bezier in here. Let's do that. Okay, so let's get this edge here. Am I recording? Oh man, that would have sucked if I wasn't recording. I feel like this is going well. Okay, so I got this segment selected, and I'm gonna hit divide because I want to add a Bezier handle on the inside. I don't want to change those edges to the vertices. So I hit divide. Now you can divide it a bunch of times. I just want one in the middle. Okay. And then let's switch it back to vertex. Let's go up like this and then right click and say Bezier. And now I'm going to monkey with this. So it kind of adds like a little arc. Makes it look a little bit more dynamic and badass. Yeah. How do you like them apples? Them some badass apples. Cool. Okay. So let's finish this guy up too. Let's do the same thing here. Let's fix this guy up. Maybe we'll bring it up. Make this a little smaller. Something like that. Let's add, let's divide this here. We'll add a Bezier in the middle. You know, sometimes these things are in the right click menu. You can go faster. So if there's a divide in here, right click divide. There it is. And then go back to, the numbers on your keyboard are going to go faster than me. I have to go over here and look. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Vertex, segment, and spline. Okay, it's faster if you do your keyboard. I will tell you the numbers. I'll kind of dictate what I'm doing, but you should really get comfortable with those. It's going to make you a much faster artist. Okay, right click. Let's go into Bezier handle and let's kind of round this out like we rounded out the other ones. So it's close enough. It's not perfect. I can show you the cool trick some other time that we could get this segment like, we could actually use an item or use a separate spline, outline it, and then like cut a perfect path. I don't really care right now. We could use some other shapes to kind of get that perfect path. Like maybe we'll bring this one a little bit closer, but make sure, because you kind of want a consistent look, like the thickness to these lines or these inside pieces. You kind of want them to be consistently thick. Just have a continuity to it. So this one might be a little off. You go like that, whatever. Okay, so let's, we got to do the beak here. Let's do the beak real quick. I actually like the way this beak kind of looks. So, we got to round this one out too. So right click Bezier and just round it out. Use the handles. Good enough. Let's create another line. Let's finish off the beak real quick. Create line. You could do a separate object. No need. Let's click, and we'll click out there. We're going to round that. We're going to get a cool beak like that, dude. Maybe we'll kind of hook that one, and then we'll close it. So the yellow shows it's the end. Okay, see how that vertex is yellow? You can see there's an end vertex here and here. There is an order to your vertexes for each spline object inside or sub-object in your main object. So if I click there, it's going to say close. And I can show you that by there is an option in here called display vertex numbers. If you turn that on, I know it's very small, but that is number 8, that is number 9, 10. They go in order for each object. So this only has like 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can't count. So there's 5 vertices in this one. They're very small because my monitor is a little big. So anyways, that will be important later. Don't worry about that now, but when you kind of cross-section certain things, how they are numbered will matter. So anyways, for now, no big deal. Okay, so let's bring this down. Let's round this guy out. So let's do a chamfer here, or a fillet. I think it's a fillet in 2D. So let's click and drag. Do I like that? I don't like that. Let's just change it to Bezier. And I like what it did there. It kind of looks brutal. And then maybe we'll add oops, got something else selected there. Actually, that goes a little far. So what we could do is we could scale this guy down. There we go. And if we want, I suppose we could just move it in. See, the problem with this now is that we got to keep that line straight there. And we could add a nice little round underside here if we want. So we could divide this. Again, you can just right click, divide, switch to vertex, pull that out a little bit, and then Bezier it. Go like that, and maybe pull it up. And now it's kind of got like a little, like a beak hook. Oh, maybe that's more. Maybe that. Maybe that. Ooh, maybe that. Let's go with that. I like that. Okay, and then maybe we should do that for that one too. That's weird. Oh, turn off those vertice numbers. You don't need that right now. Same thing, divide. Can I go to vertex mode in here? Right click. No, you can't. Boy, that would be handy. I think it's control or shift click. Yeah, I can probably find out with my trusty keyboard here. Let's hold shift and see what happens. Shift, right click. Yep. Nope, those are the snap toggles. We don't want that. Let's control right click. Is that vertex mode? Can I go to vertex mode? Nope, it doesn't look like it. What about alt right click? Wait, we just did that. And then we did shift. Maybe control right click? Ooh. No? Was it shift? Did we do them all? I think we did them all. Yeah, I think you're just going to have to use 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait, no, there it is. So control right click and you can go into vertex, spline, or segment. Like I said, I don't use those because my hands are sloppy. So it's just easier for me to go off to the side. So now you know, control right click, you can change what sub-object mode you're in. And it's the same for when you're in polygons as well. So anywho, that's just for you. It's not for me. Like I said, my hands don't work. So there we go. Okay, so we got this nice little rounded bit here. Looks kind of cool. Let's zoom out. Okay, so we got the head done. Let's just say we're going to make it symmetrical to save time today. Let's do this foot thing. I had some fun planned for this. Okay, let's do what we did yesterday where I talked about using the trim tool. Okay, so let's zoom out just a little bit actually. There we go. So let's create this shape. Let's just create new line. Let's just go across here. Let's go like that. And we'll go like this, that, that, that. And let's close it up. Make sure you click right on there. Okay. Now we have overlapping splines, segments here. So what we can do is we can go into spline mode 3, hit the trim button, and let's get rid of these guys. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. And now it's nicely plopped together. Let's make sure, as you can see, there's yellow vertices here. We don't want that because that says that it's open. Okay, whenever you see a yellow vertice, that's where that vertice segment begins. So if we select these two and we weld them, all of a sudden it's white again. Let's do it here. And let's do it here. There we go. It's closed because we know where we started. We started at the top here. We started with one of these top ones. So we knew that those were open. So instead of having Bezier corner handles, right click and just do corners. There we go. We could get a, we could fillet this and kind of make a nice rounded bit right there. And we could do the same thing here too. Sorry, I'm getting text messages, so I don't know if you can hear those dings, but it's not what I meant. And if we wanted to, we could even just take these and we could do a big chamfer. No, I don't like that. We're just gonna leave it like that. We don't have all the time in the world to play with this. So let's say I like that. Okay. And let's do one of these real quick. So I have a bunch of feathers, right? Individual feathers. I want to chop them out. How should I do that? All right. So let's do this. Let's create a separate object and we're going to make a bunch of them. So let's create a new line. Don't make it in the sub-object mode. And let's go here, here, here. Well, no. No, let's not do that. Okay, so I'm going to make a line here. So let's just do that. Let's just make a cool line in here first. And then we'll use the trim tool to create the rest of it. So let's like go up here and let's go like that, and like that, and like that. Turn that guy off. On vertex mode here. Let's Bezier corner that guy. Oh, no, Bezier. Sorry. Bezier both of these guys. And let's round those out like the other ones. And maybe the segment needs to be reset. Reset the tangents there so they're, you can get them a little bit more rounded and correct. Kind of match up with the other one. We could have taken that other line too. maybe we should do that. I kind of like that idea. So let's get rid of this guy. Let's select that. Let's get rid of him. And let's select. So grab your spline here, and let's select these 3 segments. That guy and that guy. And let's shift, click, shift control and drag, and you can duplicate it. Okay, now that we've duplicated it, let's make it bigger. So let's scale it, use your scale tool, and let's just, so we're going to keep that kind of same rounded shape here. I'll show you a couple more buttons that are pretty cool. Scale it down, it's a little big. Yeah, let's kind of line it up with the other one a little bit. The other one's a little inconsistent, so we can kind of monkey with that a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. And then let's use the refine button to add some vertices. Okay, so there is a refine button here. Let's add a, where do we want the top one to be? Let's just say we want it there, and then we want the bottom one to be like right there. And then let's delete these extra vertices here at the top and at the bottom. So we got that really big overhang. We don't want that, so we'll delete that guy. Okay, now let's just create these segments here, and we'll just kind of let's create them outside of this object. Okay, so let's just make a bunch that are almost identical. So let's go like this, like this. No, let's undo that. Let's start that over. Let's start from the outside. And you know, we'd even start from a box, I suppose. Nah, I don't want to start with a rectangle. Let's just go like this. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, and we're actually going to change where the pivot point is on this guy. Okay, so let's move the pivot. So to change the pivot of something, you have to go to the motion panel? No, this is the hierarchy panel, right? Yep, hierarchy panel. Say affect pivot point. Now it's going to let you change that pivot point. So now whenever we move it, you know, the pivot point is quite off of it, right? It's over here. That's kind of stupid. And same as if we rotate it. Now the rotation is over there. So let's actually put it back on the object here. Bink. And how many cuts in do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe we'll just do 7. That's a lot. Okay, so let's just, for the sake of quickness, we're not going to do anything fancy right now. Let's just do click and drag, hold shift and drag, let go. It's going to bring up this panel. We don't want instants because we're not changing them. They would all be linked together. But let's just make like 6 of these, and we'll see if that's enough, right? So boom, and it's made 6 of them. Okay, now let's just place them out. QWE. Is it Q to select, W to translate, E to rotate, R to scale? So those are also shortcuts you should get comfortable with. I can't use them anymore, like I said. Q is just to select something. So up here, select the object. If you hit Q, then you could just select stuff, and you can't move it. So you don't have a gizmo. Now if you hit W, now you get your move tool. And if you hit E, then you get your rotate, and R is your scale. If you hover over this, you can see those are the shortcuts. W, E, and R. Of course, it doesn't say for either here. Well, it's hierarchy, but select by name. But just select object should be Q. Anyway, so use your QWER to kind of move these where you want them to go. I mean, they're purple. They're hard to see, I'm sure, for you. So I'm just going to do it real quick. I'm just going to put them where I think they need to go, and then I'm going to rotate them. It's going to look kind of dumb to you, but I'm just going to go quick here. Like that. And I suggest you do something similar if you can find this, or if you just want to draw it with me. I mean, you could just, maybe I can add a screenshot or something so you guys can make this also. Or if you just look up Aquila and make it your texture in the background, which is something I should probably show you guys too, how to make a, how to make an image plane so you guys can model. So you guys can model from whatever image, right? Ba, ba, ba. Whatever. It is going to take forever. Um, yeah, this is taking a little longer than this is a longer tutorial than I had planned. I suppose I should have kind of thought like, hey, this is going to be a hell of a project here. And just rotate these down and just kind of put them where you want. They don't have to be lined up anywhere particular. I know I have this other one. I don't care that. Just for demonstration. I've actually made this and I kind of made it pretty quick. So I wasn't thinking exactly how I did it, but I think it measures up pretty okay. You could spread these with a better tool. You could use one of the modifiers to kind of rotate and put them in a cool place. So let's just select all these guys, see where they show up here. Yeah, it's close enough. Okay. So now let's take our original one here and let's add these. So go to your modify panel and hit attach. So let's attach these. Make sure you have it selected first. Just make sure you click them all. And then we're going to use that fancy trim tool and get rid of a bunch of this crap. Okay. Actually, we should probably get rid of some of this because it will overlap a little bit much. That last one's really big. So if we use the trim tool on this guy, notice how it overlaps the leg. I don't like that. So we're going to refine this. Let's go to vertex, hit refine, and let's click right there and right there. And now let's go into this mode, the spline mode, and get rid of these extra long. And then these other ones are fine because they don't overlap anything. I don't want to add extra vertices in the leg or in the body. Okay, so let's go to the trim tool now. Make sure you got your spline mode selected. Let's go down to trim and just blast through this guy and get rid of these extra little things that don't belong. Just kind of blast through it as quick as you can. Make sure your hands are more steady than mine. It'll go faster, I'm sure. So that moved when we trimmed. It's because it was stretched quite a bit. You could use the bind tool. There is a bind function here. You could bind those vertices so they never move. It's just something we can get into next time. It's going deep. We're going deep with this one. So let's finish this up here. And we're actually going to use that tool to, or that modifier to, oh no, we missed this inside line. I did not even see that. You know what? We're just going to cheat. We're just going to cheat. We don't have all the time in the world. Our trim tool went a little bit far. If it's not overlapping, the trim tool isn't going to help us here. So let's grab a line here. Let's just create a line. Let's go start with that one. Let's go there. And then we'll weld these up if they're not already welded. You know what? We can just turn on automatic welding. I crapped on it earlier, but here we are. We're using it just to make sure they are together. And then we'll use the weld function afterwards. Oops, I missed that one. That sucked. All right, it's right there. And then get it on top. There we go. And this one has an extra vertice right there. We don't want that. We don't want you. Oh, yeah, trim that, I guess. Because it's hanging over the edge. Trim. There we go. Okay. So, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. But good is the enemy of perfect or some stupid slogan. Okay, now, before we flip over to the other side because we're going to use the mirror function. Before we do that, let's make sure that all these vertices are snugged up to the inside line we're using here for our symmetry line. So I know that we are on the x-axis because my tool here says that's the x-axis. And I can read. So just right click, boom. It is now snugged up on the x-axis. Let's do the same thing here. X-axis, right click, turn that to 0. And then maybe we'll move it up just a little bit right there. Oh God, we missed these cut-ins. Let's do that real quick. Oh God. Okay, let's just do the fancy way. Let's create a line. Oh, that soda's coming back on me. Let's go like that. Okay, we got that line, and let's make these other lines, and then we'll duplicate those lines, right? Because they will be exactly the same dimension, or they'll be lined up the way we want, right? So let's go like this. Let's do that. Let's do that. Perfection. Okay, now let's trim tool this. I hope I'm loud enough. I know nobody's watching, but if I'm not loud enough, some feedback would be sweet. All right, so back to spline, and let's go to the trim tool, and let's just get rid of this extra crap here. Let's go like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, and voila. Okay, so we fixed that real quick. We could have done that, I suppose, with this, but whatever. It's more homemade, and we got to use more tools. Okay, so let's move our pivot also to 0. And let's go 0 there too. So right in the middle. Okay, so let's clone this. We haven't cloned anything yet. So let's edit clone. Okay, no instance, just copy. Okay, so now we got another one. Look at that, we got 2. So with one of them selected, I don't care which one, go up to your modify panel, and let's click the mirror, look on modifier list, and then go to mirror. It's alphabetical, so you'll find it. Boom, look at that shit. I mean, look at that, that's beautiful. Okay, let's go to the original here, and then let's attach this other one. Okay, and go bink, and now we got the 2. Now I suppose we could make them look separate, but we'd be here all day. You know, we could mess with this as long as we wanted. But let's just finish this up and call it a day. Okay, so let's weld these on the inside. So right here on the inside, we got these sets of vertices that we're touching now, right? Because we snugged them up right in the middle. So those are right on the symmetry line. So let's hit weld. They're not going to go anywhere because technically they're right on top of each other. And let's do the bottom one with the tail feather here. Okay, same thing. Select these guys, and let's do weld. And look at this other one. I suppose if we zoomed in, this is the kind of stuff I don't like, right? So here's the other mod. Here's the one we imported. Look at that. They just slapped it on top. And they're like, yep, good enough. No, we can do better work than that. So let's get rid of that. That's a Bezier corner. Let's just turn it to regular Bezier. And let's do that here. Let's grab this top one. Make sure that's Bezier as well. Or a corner, sorry. There we go. Okay. Now we got our object. Let's get rid of the one that was frozen. Let's go into our other panel, or our other viewport. Remember, it's Alt-W to pop out. Let's get in here. Alt-W. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Let's get our display floater back out. Okay, so display floater, where the hell is that? There we go. Let's unfreeze everything. So now we should be able to select that one that we don't like, the one that's kind of crappy. And there it is. And let's see the difference, right? Like, this one's kind of crummy compared to ours now, because we put some effort into it, right? We fixed those wings up. Like, where were these wings going? And those feet or claws, whatever, and the whatever. Ours is just classy. Okay, so let's just delete this guy. This thing sucks. And now we got this baller version here, right? Yes, we do. So let's zoom in on that guy. Let's rotate just a little bit here. Make sure it's in focus. Okay, now let's just finish the, oops, sorry. Let's just finish this off. Let's pretend we're gonna render something today. Okay, let's put a ground in. No, let's not put a ground in. Should we put a ground in? Oh God, there's so much to do. Let's just do it real quick. All right, so let's put a plane in. Nope, let's make this 3D first. One thing at a time, folks. Okay, so we can get rid of this modifier, or the floating display floater. We don't need that anymore. Okay, so modify panel, extrude. Where the hell is it? Extrude. Okay, so unfortunately it hasn't capped the top, and that means one of the vertices, or sorry, one of the spline objects isn't closed. So let's get back into vertex mode, and let's just do a small weld to everything. Oh, and I can see them, right? They're right here. They're yellow. Look at that. Look at that. That's terrible. So let's just select everything. And we're going to give it a small weld threshold so that if it's right on top of each other, they're going to weld. So right here it says 81.33. If we do that, it's going to crush it. Oh, see how terrible? Crushed it. Okay, so let's turn it to 0, or the lowest we can get, and then let's add a 1. So that means if they're really, really close. And now, so the threshold is 0.01. That means if they're really close to each other, they're going to weld. Okay, notice how it changed pretty drastically. That means everything that was close probably welded, because we did a good job putting that together, I think, I hope. And let's get out of this and see what the end result looks like. Oh, we got the body, but we're missing the wings. So there's still a spot on the wings that we need to find. It means the wing is still open. So where do we have an opening on the wing here? We should look for the yellow. I don't see a yellow vertices. Why aren't I seeing? Let's just make sure they are all welded. All right. So let's get back in this guy. Let's just select these here. I swear they're all closed. Right? What am I doing wrong? All right, let's break them off. Let's see what happens. Let's go to spline mode. Let's get this out of here. Let's detach this. Shape 1. We're going to detach that. And let's see if we add an extrude with this, why this one is not closing. I don't see any yellow. There we go. All right, something wasn't welded. I needed a little bit bigger of a threshold. So that is always an issue. You've got to find out where those vertices are. So I just did a bigger welded, or bigger threshold to weld. So it's probably smarter to break these up anyways. So you can do that by selecting the spline. That's going to select the whole object. Just detach that to a separate object. Say, okay, get back out of here, and then select all the items. I mean, we know now what's going to fix it, right? And let's weld at a 1.1. And if we add our extrude modifier, let's actually get out of the sub-object mode there first. That's good habit, because some modifiers only work on what you have selected. So extrude, and there we go. So that's kind of cool, right? We could probably add a bevel modifier on these guys. Let's just try that. I don't really use the bevel modifier, or not bevel, is it chamfer? Jeez. Conform, chamfer, there it is. I don't want to add much of a chamfer, but it does look nice. Now it has a nice kind of rounded edge there. So that's kind of cool, right? It kind of breaks the model right there, though. Nah, it's garbage. Don't do that. Don't do that. We'll convert it into a poly sometime, and then we'll do something cool. All right, if you want to render this guy and take a picture home to your mother, like when I used to teach 3D modeling courses. This is a long time ago. It's like 14 years ago. I'm an old man. You probably would want to make sure that your parents were spending the right amount of money sending you to this school that I was teaching at. So let's add a plane beneath this, right? Let's make the plane like, we don't really need to do anything fancy. Let's just make it gray. The color box swatch up here, we don't need to do anything. It's just crappy. And then let's do the inverse selection here. There we go. Let's change these colors. You know what? Let's just do it. I came this far. Let's add some gold. So, quickest way to do that, physical material. There are presets in the physical material. You just have to drag it onto the material editor. Let's see, there's probably a gold in here somewhere. Silver, satin, gold. There it is. And you can right click and say attach to selected object, or assign to material to selection. There you go. We don't have any cool lighting or anything like that, so it's going to be kind of lame. But if we just zoom in, and your render button is the teapot, ta-da! There it is. Kind of cool looking. I had some lights in here because it was from I actually pulled it out of my other project. So don't expect yours is going to look like that. You're going to have to add some lights and stuff. But that's it for now. I think this went a little long. Jeez, what are we at? 57 minutes. Hold on to your pants. Hold them tight. Jeez. Let's go back to my face and my cool pig destroyer shirt. Okay. So this has been this went a little long. Sorry. This has been how to make your own object from a spline, and then we extruded it. So we took a 2D object, much like we did last time. Instead of lofting with a shape and a path, we just extruded a shape in 2 dimensions, right? So we took this, and we can actually see the original. So let's go back here. You can see the original. Let's select the opposite here, and let's just turn these off. So let's turn off the extrude. And hell, you know what we could do, just to make life easier? We could burp into the microphone. Oh, nope, it's going away. Oh, is the burp coming back? No, it was tiny. Okay, so what we could do is we could just, since we know these are closed, we could just add them back. So just do the attach, pop them back in there. Now you don't have to deal with separate objects. It's good for debugging the object, if that's what you want to call it. I'm going to delete this background. It's kind of hard to see stuff. And so, yeah, we took this 2D object, and what extrude does is it essentially pushes it in 1 dimension, okay? We can change the amount. We can go quite a bit bigger, quite a bit shorter, or nice and thin if we wanted to do like a nice badge. And then if you want to see what it would look like as a polygon, let's turn on edged faces here. And then we could add some height segments, much like when you're creating a box or a cylinder. And then, if you want, you can add an editable poly modifier. And if you want things to be a little different, I don't know what you want to do. Let's just grab a face here. This is not going to go well. This is a bad face. Like this face has so many edges, right? Um, what you could do is you could just start. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just grab this edge here, and then maybe one of these. Is that gonna work? There we go. And let's change that selection. Oh, it's gonna grab the whole thing. I was gonna say you could just grab, lines or something like this and this and this and this. I'm sorry, this is so unnecessary. Um, and then say you wanted to make it different or something. And then let's just extrude by the normal here. So let's go up like this, but notice it's extruding in a stupid dimension. So local normal. Oh, wait, why does that not go in the direction we want? By polygon? That's weird. Anyways, you could add something like that. Just say okay. And then you can always turn it off because that's stupid and it kind of makes it look dumb. But those are your options. You can do so many things. This editable poly doesn't even need to be there, right? We can just delete it. But this object, this three-dimensional object, is just a projection of your 2D object. So it's kind of like you never even made a 3D object. You just use the tools to get to that 3D object. And this is your primitive now. And you can do whatever you want from this point on. Yeah. Kind of running out of stuff, but God, this has gone way too long. An hour. I want to go to bed. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to wrap this up. We're going to go look at my face again. Here comes my face. I hope I was loud enough. I see that if I talk over here, but then if I talk over here, yeah, I'm looking at the volume going, boo, boo, boo. Anyway, I hope it's loud enough. I hope you could hear me. I hope you could understand what I'm talking about. Spline modeling. Go get some. Again, I'm gonna wrap this up. So yeah. If you like what we did, leave me a comment or something. If it was helpful, fantastic. If it wasn't helpful, maybe it will be in the future. Just because it's not helpful today doesn't mean it's not helpful tomorrow. Like I said, I think next time we are gonna look at I don't even know why I have this ending thing. It's not very fun. Actually, I do know why I have that. So you can look at my stuff. So if you want to come back, Barbaric Melons Live, check me out. I'm going to start live streaming because maybe somebody will come and talk to me. But if you want to look at my cartoons, I just got some new cartoon stuff and I'm very excited to make new cartoons. They are just at Barbaric Melons on YouTube. Those are my Twitter handles, but Twitter's a cesspool, so don't go there. And then I got an Instagram, but Instagram's just people selling stuff, so just don't go there. I'm not selling you anything. I don't want anything. If anything, I just want to make friends. Come and be my friend. I'm kidding. So yeah, check out my stuff. If not, come check back and maybe you'll learn something. This has been an hour and 3 minutes and 27, 28, 29 seconds. Well, I'll see you next time, maybe, hopefully. Take care.